I hope everyone had a great weekend, and it's for a lot of people the first official weekend of summer. I know a lot of schools finished up last week, and I went to the grocery store today and was thinking a lot about snacks and what are healthy, what's not healthy. You guys are probably going to have your kids at home for a lot more hours of the day. They're going to be scrounging, begging for food, as all kids do, and myself, honestly, anytime I'm home. So I thought it'd be great to, I know I did a juice post like a couple months ago, a video where I went through all like the juice options, so I thought it'd be good to do a snack one too. So I picked up a few things that I wanted to talk to at the grocery store, but I also just went through like my pantry, what I had, to start talking about snacking, because at this point I feel like most parents I interact with, new parents or experienced parents, they know that candy's bad for teeth, juice is not supposed to be given in excess. Most of you are limiting juice or diluting it. So when a kid comes to me and I see a lot of cavities, a lot of parents are, quite frustrated because they say, we don't do candy, they're not getting a lot of juice, we brush their teeth, how is this happening? So something I've been talking a lot about is what a lot of pediatric dentists now are calling cracker cavities. So you might not think of crackers as the big culprit in terms of causing cavities because they're just like, not a sweet. It's kind of a savory treat. But if you think about it, a cracker or a pretzel or anything like that is actually a carbohydrate. So it's made of simple sugars that, if left on your teeth long enough, can cause a cavity. Because what happens is the bacteria that causes cavities, they feed off of simple sugars. So, obviously the most readily available, source of simple sugar would be a really sugary treat. But if you do something like a cheddar bunny or a goldfish, which is probably like, we ask what kids' favorite snacks are, like goldfish has to be up there with like the #1 favorite kid snack. But if you eat a goldfish, which I'll do right now, a cheddar bunny, excuse me, very delicious and organic. So right now I'm going to try not to use my tongue to clean out in my teeth, because most kids, they'll eat a cracker and they just leave it there. They don't care. An adult, we use our tongue, we get really annoyed when we have food stuck in our teeth, but kids just don't care, or they don't have the motor development of their tongue to get the food out of their teeth. So if you were to see my teeth right now, it's like filled with orange stuff. So, I don't know, can you see it? Probably not. But I feel it. And, maybe what we'll do is throughout this video, I'm just going to let it sit there. And at the end, we'll see if it's still there without me physically trying to get out. But they get sticky. Carbs break down. And they really do stick to your teeth. So you don't think of a goldfish or a pretzel as being, like a gummy snack or things that are obviously bad for teeth. But crackers, they can be considered sticky because they stick in your teeth. And right now I'm fighting to get it out of the grooves of my teeth. So, we think that that's a big reason why a lot of kids are getting cavities. You'll see in our office, a kid will come, well after lunch or snack time with food still stuck in their teeth at the time they're cleaning. It's like, oh, did you have, a snack on your way over? And they're like, oh no, I had goldfish at lunch, and there's still, goldfish there. So what will happen is, your saliva has enzymes in it that will start breaking down some of the food in your mouth, and that kind of feeds the bacteria, and they'll break that down to acid, and the acid is what does cause cavities. So another thing I want to talk about is the frequency of snacking. So I think we're also in an age where snacking is much more popular. So we're eating smaller meals more often. You bring your kids out, and the only way to really make them happy is maybe to give them a snack. So a bunch of toddlers are living off of these puffs just to make it through a day, and we get that. But it's the frequency of those snacks that really can get you in trouble, because if you have a carb, a handful of Cheerios, let's say, every 15 minutes, your saliva never gets a good chance to recoup all the buffering capacity to limit that acid. And you don't think of a Cheerio as causing a cavity, but if you're snacking on Cheerios for multiple hours or for a long time, it actually can be detrimental. So try to limit the frequency of snacks, I would say, and try it. What I'll do first is show you some of the snacks, and then I'll talk about like my general guidelines. But yeah, so I don't have candy out here. You're not looking at like even things like raisins, which I talk about a lot as being harmful because they're sticky and high in sugar, even though it's natural. And that's another thing I talked about in my juice video, but just because a snack is labeled as like organic or no sugar added or all natural, it still can have like naturally occurring sugars that can be dangerous for teeth, especially for kids who are at a high risk of cavities. So puffs, these are meant for toddlers because they're really soft and you can't choke on them, but it's brown rice flour or basically just different kinds of carbohydrates that can break down to simple sugars. I didn't have any like crackers other than these like nut thin things that we buy sometimes, but even in here it also has like brown rice in it. It can break down into simple sugars. Obviously the goldfish, even things like veggie straws or veggie sticks, which I had some, can be a little bit dangerous. Even it has some veggies in it, but the main component is carbohydrate. Pretzels are another one, and these things all should be in moderation. And I'll say, and I always say this, like no kid is going to go through their life and not eat goldfish crackers or pretzels or whatever. Like I'm not saying eliminate that completely from your kid's diet, but it shouldn't be their go-to. Try to get them used to some other snacks that can't cause a cavity no matter how long it sits on the teeth, because then you don't need to worry about it so much. So of course they're going to have crackers, of course they're going to have cookies, but try to just change things up a little bit at home so that they're healthier snacks. Another thing I'll touch on is granola bars. A lot of them are bound, like the way that they can make it into a bar is they'll put like a lot of honey or even dates. A lot of the like Lara bars or the RX bars that are really popular are awesome for your health, but they do have a lot of sugar in them, even though it's natural from the dates, and those are so sticky. Like the RX bars drive me crazy because they just get so stuck in my teeth that I literally have to like pry it out with my fingernail. So careful with granola bars too, but they're so convenient, and I realize like most of this stuff is things that don't need to be like refrigerated. You don't have to worry about the shelf life as long, and so they're like super convenient, especially when they're packaged like this. So do what you can, but I would say proceed with caution with this sort of thing. This is another granola bar that we eat. These like crunch bars. Also, I will say it does get stuck in your teeth. So I'll start moving to like the not so bad side of the table. Popcorn is something, one of the processed foods that actually is a lot better for teeth. You're not going to see it getting stuck in your molars. And, they don't get like caramel corn, or even some of the kettle corns have like a lot of sugar. But this is like a light kettle corn that I love. It's like the Boom Chicka Pop. But any of the brands, basically, popcorn is a great snack for kids. I have string cheese, which is probably like one of my favorite go-to snacks. Obviously, if a kid is like lactose intolerant, or you guys don't do dairy or meat, some of these suggestions aren't so great, but cheese sticks are a wonderful kid-friendly snack to always have on hand. But again, needs to be refrigerated, so have to be careful. Pepperoni. So meat can cause cavities. So this is obviously processed, so you don't want to overdo it with it, but it's a good like on-the-go snack. So here's some like turkey pepperoni. But you could also do like, cold cut wraps with cheese. That would be a great snack. I put peanut butter out here because peanuts are a great snack in terms of not causing cavities and being relatively healthy. I have some pecans here. I didn't have any almonds. Usually we have almonds around, and that's also a good snack. But in terms of like the stickiness of certain carbs, if you were to make like a peanut butter sandwich just with like bread and cut it up into small pieces, that would actually be a better choice than, like a peanut butter granola bar or something, because the bread itself doesn't have that like crunched, it won't get stuck in their teeth as much. So that's another option. And then obviously like carrots or any kind of raw vegetable is an amazing snack. Cherries I have here. Yogurt is a wonderful snack for kids. You don't want to make sure it's not one of the brands that has like tons of sugar in it, but generally you aren't really worried about cavities unless you're like really overdoing it. Smoothies is another thing, and these are some hard-boiled eggs that Ryan and I always have on hand as like another great snack. can't cause cavities. Something that can cause cavities is dark chocolate, which is another thing I always have on hand. But again, in moderation. I just wanted to put this out to talk about the fact that like dark chocolate or any kind of chocolate is always going to be better than, you know, a sticky, like even like a fruit leather or a gummy fruit snack. I mean, I know those are not even on the table because I don't want people considering that at all. Fruit snacks are terrible. Like, don't do it. I don't care if they're like organic or all natural. Like, it's just candy and it shouldn't really be considered a snack. So a treat, that's fine, but don't let your kids have them too early because then they know they exist, and I mean, they're delicious, but it shouldn't be like a go-to snack in your house if you're worried about cavities. And so yeah, it's all about balance and finding things that work with your family and your household, and also like your dietary choices. So if you're, you know, vegan, obviously cheese sticks aren't going to roll, but for some families it's a great thing to do. And then in terms of like the frequency and things like that, if you want to be like super on top of things in terms of not worrying about cavities with snacking, you know, don't snack at all. That would be like the number one thing. Like, have all your food in 3 meals a day, you know, drink only water or white milk in between your meals, but that's obviously not very practical. So if you're going to have an in-between meal or a snack, try to make it be from something on this side of our table. And if you are going to have a cracker, offer plenty of water to kind of help rinse out any of that leftover starches, or, you know, give them a handful of pretzels and then, you know, a carrot, and that can help release some of the carbs that got stuck on the teeth. Because I'm telling you, like right now, there's still like gold or whatever these are, cheddar bunnies in my teeth. So if I were to eat a carrot right now, that would probably help. So, you know, it's frustrating, and I get it, because a lot of you are doing everything you can to keep your kids healthy and their diet healthy, and they still end up with cavities. I say this all the time, but 50% of kindergartners have cavities, and we have a lot of like really smart parents who are doing everything they can to keep their kids healthy, and they're still getting cavities. So I just, you know, I go over this like in the office at least like 10 times a day. I could probably, you know, just record a tape of myself saying all these suggestions. So I figure now it's like in a video format that we can reference at any point. But if you guys have any questions or concerns about snacking, any other ideas, if you've come up with some easy snacks for, you know, low carbohydrate, you know, low sugar snacks for your kids that I could recommend to other families, that would be really great. Because obviously I don't have kids, so this is kind of really like my go-tos, but I know kids can be really picky. So yeah, that's it. I hope I didn't stress anyone out too much. I didn't mean it to be, you know, like too demanding with what I'm suggesting, but what I always say is, this is the information that I'm, you know, kind of mandated to tell you as a health professional. Do with it what you can, and with what your family can, you know, handle or do, and see if you can make some changes this summer, because, you know, there's going to be a lot of ice cream, which actually ice cream is another snack that's like not going to stick to your teeth. So ice cream would be pretty good, but, you know, kids are going to be home and begging for snacks all the time. So just be careful with what you stock your fridges and your pantries with this summer. And again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask us. So have a great night.